You're listening to the Play Therapy Parenting Podcast with Dr. Brenna Hicks.
Hi, I'm Dr. Brenna Hicks, the Kid Counselor. This is the Play Therapy Parenting Podcast where I give you insight, awareness, and enlightenment about your parenting and your relationship with your kids. In today's episode, I am answering a question from Jenn in Connecticut. And this question is about her two teenage boys that are struggling in their relationship with each other and the navigation of that dynamic in the family. So Jenn, thank you so much for the email, for reaching out. So I'm going to read parts of her email and then we'll dive in together. We were recommended to participate in family therapy, but the boys refused. They are 17 and 14. Both are in individual therapy and liking it. I'm reaching out as our boys continue to have a conflictual relationship and seem incapable or unwilling to tolerate each other. We are unable to spend time as a family for years, but it seems to be getting worse. Any attempts my husband or I make to connect as a family are met with refusal or them arguing. And they've been resistant to CCPT, so I'm feeling a little discouraged and heartbroken. All right, Jenn, thank you so much. So this is a really interesting scenario. I think often there's what we call a slow fade. And what I mean is there are all kinds of micro experiences that add up. And those individual experiences are really kind of trivial and insignificant and benign along the way. But over the course of years, they accrue. And now all of a sudden, the present moment is clouded by thousands of micro experiences that took place already that are now influencing what's going on in the moment. And that sounds like what has likely taken place with your boys. For a variety of reasons, they've had disagreements, difference in personality, conflict, some kind of struggle. One felt misunderstood, one felt disrespected, one felt laughed at, judged, criticized, whatever the scenario is. Or they breathed on each other. It can be really insignificant things sometimes. But you end up with boys that just don't feel like they enjoy each other's company. And this is consistent in all relationships. This is not just sibling relationships. And I know that you actually have interesting scenario because there are neurodivergent issues as well. So there's a lot of factors here. Here's what I think will be an encouragement to you and probably to many of you that feel like maybe you are currently in a relationship or you see within the family dynamics, there are relationships that are similar to this. The fact that they're both in individual therapy, that's the most helpful start for the remedy. And here's what I mean. The identified client, so anyone in a family that is in therapy, they become the change agent for the whole family. So even if only one person in the family is in therapy, the fact that they are changing, it will naturally change the family as well. This is statistically proven and known. They are both in individual therapy, which means they're both changing. They're both becoming better versions of themselves. They are both working on whatever they need to work on. So by nature of them being in therapy, they will both create change in the family, in the sibling relationship, in the entire dynamic at home. And it's often slow, and it's often only seen in hindsight, but there will be shifts. So that bodes really well, Jenn, that we know the identified client becomes the change agent in the family. Keep them both in therapy. Moral of that story. Second of all, it sounds as though they really just don't have any way to connect right now. You can't force connection. So what sounds to me like it might be a healthy fit is you spend 30 minutes with one son. Your husband spends 30 minutes with the other son. This becomes a planned activity. And then later in the week, you switch. And so if it's the 17-year-old on Monday with you, then it'll be the 14-year-old on Thursday with you. And it becomes a scenario where both boys look forward to one-on-one time with each of their parents. There's no agenda. They get to decide what you do. You're there just to unconditionally accept them, to let them decide what happens. If they want to show you something, teach you something, play something, talk, make something, go for a walk, go fishing, throw a football, whatever it is, they get to decide what to do. There's no expectation. There's no agenda. If they choose to do nothing other than have you sit next to them, if they don't talk to you, if they don't look at you, if they act as if you're not even there, you're just going to be present for 30 minutes. Here's what you're instilling in them. You are unconditionally loved and accepted, no matter what. I don't have agenda. I'm not waiting for you to talk. I'm not waiting for you to engage. I'm not waiting for you to meet my needs. I'm not waiting for you to make me happy. I'm just going to be here with you because I unconditionally love and accept you. And if you're consistent over time, they will start to realize who they are. They'll start to realize who they want to be. They will start to self-actualize. This is the child-centered way. So as each boy gets time with each parent, they will naturally become better versions of themselves. They will naturally feel more loved and accepted at home. That will naturally trickle into their relationship with each other. It will not happen overnight. It will not be a quick light switch kind of flip. But as they continue in therapy and as they continue to receive time with no agenda, unconditional acceptance, they learn, I like who I am. I know who I am. I trust who I am. I accept who I am. Those are powerful statements. And as self-esteem increases, look, we know just noticing a child is a powerful builder of self-esteem. That's one of the rules of thumb from the parent training. So we know just noticing a child builds self-esteem. I think both of your boys really do not have a sense of who they are. Based on what you're describing, I think they have very low self-concept. As they start to understand more who they are and they like themselves more, and their self-esteem increases and their self-confidence increases, they will naturally be okay with each other in a new context. It will change the dynamic. When you have two people that don't like themselves, they're certainly not going to like each other. So they will naturally evolve into more confident beings. And when you like yourself and when you accept yourself, you're much more tolerant. You're much more gracious. You're much more patient. You're much more understanding. All kinds of things change for you. So Jenn, I hope that that's helpful. I know that a lot of parents struggle with relationship dynamics and relational conflicts. So thank you so much for the email. I appreciate you reaching out. If you have a question, if you'd like to say hello, if you want to run something by me about your kids or your family, please reach out, Brenna@thekidcounselor.com. I'd love to hear from you. We'll talk again soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Play Therapy Parenting Podcast with Dr. Brenna Hicks. For more episodes and to subscribe to our newsletter, please go to www.playtherapyparenting.com.